How do you think people would take that if they found out that New Year's Day isn't supposed to be in January? Is it possible we've been duped into following a calendar built for control?
My guy. Alright, so someone asked if I could talk about the actual calendar and the real New Year. So first I'm going to start off by telling y'all that there are actually 13 months. And if you pay attention, all of it makes sense.
But why not? Because really the stars are in alignment.
The stars are in alignment, but the calendar is not. Calendar comes from the word calend, which is taxes.
Grand Rising family, welcome back to another episode of Little Boss Energy, where we uplift, motivate, and inspire each other to get shit together. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know somebody who you think might enjoy watching this, or you think needs to see this, share it with them. These videos are for entertainment purposes. I'm not responsible for what you do or don't believe. This is your journey. Take what you believe and leave what you don't. There may be a trigger warning or two or three. I don't know. If there is, I apologize. Earlier videos I said that I was no longer celebrating holidays, and I'm not. And I'm not going to be speaking lies out of my mouth anymore. So I will not be telling anybody Happy New Year, because I know it's not the New Year. If you celebrate it, that's your choice. My choice is to not even acknowledge it. I hope that you have an amazing day that day. And that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to bend my values to appease anybody anymore. I'm done fitting in the little box that society says I should fit in. I'm not doing it. First affirmation says, caring for myself uplifts my spirit and energizes my soul. Choose a new healthy habit to start this 7. I plant the seed of my next chapter. I am ready to grow. I am safe to expand. That's a great one for the day that it is, even though I know that it's full of shit. Like, that's actually a really good affirmation for this particular video. Thank you for always making me smile. Rejoice to the Most High, always. Philippians 4:4. Oh, and I do have 2 shout-outs. The first shout-out goes to Carlos Gradias. He commented on one of my shorts, my Merry Christmas short. So thank you for your support. I appreciate it. And my second shout-out goes to Mom Dukes. She commented on my Care Bear reel and was like, I love your videos, even though she thinks I'm crazy. And either she thinks I'm crazy and she's just trying to be supportive, or she knows I'm not but isn't ready to accept reality. There's only 2 choices, and I tell you what to do it. Let's get straight into it.
My guy. Alright, so someone asked if I could talk about the actual calendar and the real New Year. So first I'm going to start off by telling y'all that there are actually 13 months. And if you pay attention, all of it makes sense. Remember how I told y'all that us and nature are connected? We're all connected. This is what I mean by that. So actually listen to what I'm about to say. The moon cycles every 28 days. And if you pay attention, when a woman is pregnant, they only count her pregnancy every 28 days. And they count by 4 weeks. 4 weeks in this month, 4 weeks in that month. And that's why when you count the weeks, it go by 7, 14, 21, 28. And the reason why I say we actually have 13 months is because if we have 13 months instead of 12, each month will have 28 days. So not only do the moon have a 28-day cycle, but don't us women have a 28-day cycle when it comes to our period? Not only that, God calls the moon a her. So the moon itself is represented as a female. So you got the women's menstrual cycle that's every 28 days, just like the moon cycle is every 28 days. So the moon is represented as a she, and it has a 28-day cycle, just like us, females, we have a 28-day cycle. Keep up, I'm trying to show you how we connected to nature. The only month that's actually truthful that we go by is February. That's the only month that actually has 28 days. All those other months, if all those months go to 28 days instead, it will make an extra month that will also have 28 days. So we will have 13 months that all have 28 days, which is actually for the missing month that we are supposed to have. April 1st, which is April Fool's, is symbolic to them fooling you into thinking that January 1st is the actual new year. But like I told y'all, we are connected to nature. Nature shows us that the real new year is in spring. Nature shows us that the real new year is when the earth starts to come alive again. The trees, the grass, and the flowers begin to blossom and grow back. Our energy is connected to nature. Our energy actually begins to shift with nature also. The new year is actually based off the seasons, and spring is the new season. January is not the new year. This is all some fake stuff that's going on, and they got y'all programmed. Like, for real, how could January be the new year and it ain't representing no change?
Nothing.
No new life, no growth. We are connected to nature. No matter what y'all try to lie about, what lies they put into y'all, or what y'all don't want to believe in, no matter what you want to believe in, we connected to nature regardless of what y'all say. God created us, God created nature. We are supposed to align with each other. 13 months instead of 12 will be exactly 28 days in each month. The first will always be a Monday, and the 28th will always be a Sunday. Every month will have exactly 4 weeks, and we will properly align ourselves with the moon cycle. Moon cycle, 28 days. Menstrual cycle, 28 days. Days of the month, 28 days. September came from an old Roman word called septem, meaning 7, which was originally the 7th month. October came from the Latin and Greek word oct, meaning 8, which was originally the 8th month. November came from the Latin word novem, meaning 9, which was originally the 9th month. December came from the Latin word decem, meaning 10, which was originally the 10th month. So September is actually the 7th month. October is actually the 8th month. Why do you think they call it an octopus an octopus? Oct stands for 8. An octopus has 8 tentacles. They call it an octopus for a reason, because it stands for 8 at the beginning. November is really the 9th month, and December is actually the 10th month. So for us to call September the 9th month, October the 10th month, and so on, that's a bold-faced lie, because it's not true. What I'm trying to tell y'all is at the end of the day, nature tells us the real time. And God made us the way we are and made nature the way it is for a reason. And we supposed to properly align with nature. Y'all have to realize we didn't have clocks and stuff back then. We followed nature.
Didn't.
Nature told us the time. And until this day, nature tells us the time. God made us the way we are for a reason, the same way he made nature the way it is for a reason. So like I always said, Romans 3 and 4, let God be the truth and every man a liar.
Ooh.
But why not? Because really, the stars are in alignment.
The stars are in alignment, but the calendar is not. Calendar comes from the word calend, which is taxes. We know the state of our people fucked up. And when you get somebody that has been celebrated by pop culture that really comes to tell the people the truth, they laugh and kiki like this shit funny. The new year can't be in January at the deadest time of the year. The new year is right now when the sun rises. That's why the allegory of the resurrection was talking about God's son, not S-O-N, the S-U-N, resurrecting. The sun is rising again. This is the new year in the spring. It's springing into a new year. There's really 10 months in a year. This is a Roman Gregorian calendar that we've been under. Your dad planted his seed in your mother. 9 to 10 months is full term. You got here. How can your birthday be every 12 months if it only took you 10 months to get here? You have a guy named Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. They added their own months to the calendar year.
Yeah.
July and August.
I didn't know that.
That's why everything sept is usually 7, but September's 9. Everything octagon, octopus is 8. Why is October the 10th month? Everything Nueve, Nuevo, Nino is 9. Why is November 11? Decimals 10. How can December be 12? Because they added too much to the year. That's why everybody's algorithm is out of order. That's why we can't get in alignment. Well, they can't get in alignment to their assignment because they're not in alignment to nature.
Ten strange New Year's facts they don't want you to know. A Vault of the Unseen Original. 1. Most of the world skipped 10 days in 1582. In October of that year, entire countries went to sleep on the 4th and woke up on the 15th. Why? Pope Gregory XIII ordered the change to fix errors in the old Julian calendar. But for those alive at the time, it was as if time had literally vanished. Imagine going to bed and waking up in the middle of next week. 2. Midnight on New Year's was once feared, not celebrated. In ancient Europe, midnight wasn't the beginning of a party. It was a sacred and dangerous moment. It marked the thinning of the veil between worlds when spirits could cross into our realm. That's why bells were rung, not to celebrate, but to ward off the dead. 3. We might actually be in the year 2012. Some historians argue that the Gregorian calendar robbed us of actual time. With adjustments, lost days, and restructured years, the timeline could be off by a full decade, meaning the Mayan prophecy wasn't wrong. It's happening now. We just didn't know the true date. 4. In Denmark, they smash plates at your door for luck. Danes collect old plates all year, only to violently smash them on New Year's Eve. If your doorstep is covered in shattered porcelain by morning, it means you're loved, lucky, and protected for the year ahead. If it's empty, you might want to worry. 5. January wasn't always the start of the year. The ancient Roman calendar started in March. January and February were added later. Janus, the god of beginnings and endings, inspired the name. His two faces look forward and back. Celebrating him meant honoring the past but welcoming something new and possibly unknown. 6. The Times Square ball drop is a control mechanism. The ball drop is based on an old maritime practice. Ships once used a time ball to synchronize clocks. What feels like tradition is really a leftover symbol of centralized control over time and over people. The ritual continues and the masses count down together. There are 7. A leap second once broke the internet. In 2012, a single added leap second caused widespread glitches. Reddit went down. Airlines were delayed. Linux systems froze. 1 second of correction revealed just how fragile our digital world really is, and how even time itself can't be perfectly controlled. 8. The Y2K Mandela effect is real for some. Many people swear something changed at the turn of the millennium. They remember blackouts, strange dreams, even alternate events. Some claim the world did end, and what we're living in now is a rebooted or diverged version, a backup save file. 9. Kissing at midnight may protect your soul. The tradition of kissing on New Year's is believed to lock in your soul. If left unanchored during the transition between years, spirits could attach themselves or even swap places. The kiss isn't just romantic, it's ritual protection. Turn 10. Prophecies warned us about this decade. Nostradamus predicted a great shift for the mid-2020s. Baba Vanga foresaw a digital transformation, global unrest, and the rise of synthetic minds. Whether you believe in prophecy or not, these eerie predictions are lining up in ways no one expected. And if these were just the ones we do know about, imagine what's been erased from the calendar completely.
Right.
Welcome to the vault. Time doesn't work the way you think it does.
Let's talk about this thing we are walking into called the new year, right? Everybody's popping bottles, setting intentions, claiming new beginnings, while the earth is still asleep. Trees are bare, soil is cold, life pulled inwards. And that should already raise a question. Because in nature, new life doesn't begin in the dead of winter, family. That just doesn't happen. It begins when the light returns, when sap rises, when seeds break open, when things actually grow. Spring. That's the real reset. It always has been. So how did January 1st become the new year? The simple answer to that is politics. Politics and control, not nature. January isn't just a random month. It's named after Janus, the Roman god of the gates, transitions, and the control of time. That's why it has two faces, one looking backwards and one looking forward. Never present. That matters because this new year isn't about renewal. It's about administration, managing endings and beginnings on paper, but not in nature. Janus wasn't a god of growth. He was a god of thresholds, doors, and declarations, which means January was never meant to align you with life. It was meant to organize people. Now, before anybody gets in their feelings, this isn't a shot at people born in January, right? Capricorns are solid people. They're builders, they're thinkers, they're disciplined, they're grounded. You didn't choose the calendar. The calendar chose you. If anything, being born in January means that you learned early how to thrive in resistance. Cold season, still standing, that's strength. The issue isn't the people, it's the math. Originally, the calendar didn't even have 12 months. The Roman calendar had 10. March was the real beginning. That's why the names still tell on themselves. September means 7. October means 8. November means 9. December means 10. Now they're months 9 through 12. And that should raise an eyebrow with everybody. January and February were added later. Not because nature needed them, but because empires did. More structure, more accounting, more control over time.
Keep us out of alignment.
So the calendar got stretched, but nature didn't change with it, which is why things feel off. Not broken, just misaligned. Ancient cultures aligned their calendars with the sun, the moon, the planting cycles, and harvest. Time was observed, not declared. But Rome didn't like that. Too fluid, too wild. So they standardized time around empire, taxation, and governance. And that's the inversion. We celebrate new beginnings when nature is telling us to rest. We hustle when the body is meant to restore. We set goals when the nervous system is still in winter mode. And then we wonder why burnout is normal. Now, here's the part that people missed. You don't need a white lab coat to see this. You just need pattern recognition and basic common sense. That's how you recognize inversions. When what's being celebrated doesn't match what life is doing, that's a signal. When the calendar disagrees with biology, that's a signal. When the system tells you to push while your body whispers pause, that's a signal. This isn't about rejecting January 1st. It's about not mistaking it for something that isn't. Use it as a checkpoint if you want. But understand this, your real new year starts when the earth starts breathing again, whenever light increases, when energy moves outwards, when growth becomes natural instead of forced. Until then, winter is for reflection. It's for clearing. It's for listening. It's for recalibrating. So don't rush to rebirth because nature never does. And anything that asks you to bloom in the dead of winter is not wisdom. It's an inversion. Peace.
Look at the date on your phone. You believe that number represents a fresh start, a clean slate, a new beginning. But what if I told you that the date January 1st was specifically chosen to program your consciousness for failure? You are participating in a ritual you do not understand, and because you do not understand the rules, you have already lost the game before the first week is over. Think about the feeling you have right now. There is a strange pressure in the air, a manic need to change, to improve, to become someone else. But underneath that excitement, there is a heavy, silent anxiety. Why? Why does the so-called happiest time of the year coincide with the highest rates of depression and fatigue? It is not just the weather, it is the programming. You have been led into a psychological enclosure, a temporal prison cell that loops every 365 days. Most people will click off this video because the truth is uncomfortable. They want the comforting lie of the resolution. But if you are still here, it is because you suspect that something about the way we measure time is fundamentally broken. By the end of this video, you will never look at a calendar the same way again. But first, we have to look at the trap itself. Look out the window. If you live in the northern hemisphere, nature is dead. The trees are bare. The animals are hibernating. The earth is hard and frozen. the sun is at its weakest point in the sky. In the natural world, this is the time for deep rest, for silence, for conservation of energy. Biology demands that we slow down. Yet, the calendar on your wall screams at you to speed up. It commands you to launch new businesses, start intense gym routines, and overhaul your entire life. Do you see the conflict? You are fighting a war against your own biology. You are trying to plant seeds in frozen soil. This is not an accident. This synchronization error was introduced on purpose. If you can force a population to expend their maximum energy when their biological reserves are at their lowest, you create a society that is perpetually exhausted and easy to control. But who moved the start line? Who decided that the year begins in the dead of winter rather than the spring, when life actually returns? I will reveal the architects of this shift in a few minutes, and when you see their names, you will realize this system was never designed for your benefit. Let us talk about the ritual of New Year's Eve. Words act as spells. That is why we call it spelling. The word Eve carries a heavy vibration. In the ancient texts, Eve is the threshold of the fall, the moment before the deception takes hold. Every year, billions of humans are programmed to look at a clock and count down. 10, 9, 8. What are you counting down to? You are synchronizing your consciousness with the machine. At the stroke of midnight, you are encouraged to drink spirits alcohol, which lowers your vibrational shield, and then manifest your desires. But here is the danger. Because you are out of alignment with nature, you are not manifesting power. You are manifesting anxiety. You are essentially telling the universe, I am not enough as I am. This creates a vacuum, a gap in your psyche. And there are forces, which we will discuss later, that feed on that specific gap between who you are and who you think you should be. You feel high on January 1st, but that high is artificial. It is the spike before the crash. Here is the smoking gun. Statistics show that 92% of New Year's resolutions fail by February. 92%. If a car had a 92% failure rate, we would recall it. If a medicine killed 92% of patients, we would ban it. But when the calendar causes 92% of the population to fail, we blame ourselves. We say we lack discipline. We say we are lazy. No, you are not lazy.
You're out of
You
alignment.
are caught in a rigged casino where the house always wins. This failure rate is not a bug in the system. It is the main feature. The system needs you to fail. Why? Because a human being who feels guilty, inadequate, and powerless is a perfect consumer. When you fail your resolution in February, what do? You buy a product to fix it. You buy a pill, a program, a subscription. The economy relies on your cyclic failure. But there is a darker reason for this engineered failure. One that goes beyond money and touches on the very physics of how your reality is constructed. So, we have established that the date is wrong, the energy is backwards, and the failure is guaranteed. But the most terrifying part is not the what, it is the who. This calendar you trust, the Gregorian calendar, is not a measurement of time, it is a control grid. It overlays the natural circular time of the universe with a linear, artificial time of the empire. There is a specific ancient deity whose two faces are hidden in the name January. He is the god of doorways, and he requires a toll to pass through. You have been paying this toll with your energy every single year without knowing it. To break out of this prison, you have to know the name of the jailer. In the next section, I am going to show you exactly who owns the month of January and why the original calendar had only 10 months, not 12. The 2 months that were added were not just for timekeeping. They were inserted to sever your connection to the divine source.
So we're exposing the kingdom of darkness. New Year's is pagan and it's demonic. This is only for the elect and the believers of the Most High Yah of the Bible. So to start, we know that the New Year is not from December to January. This is a Roman pagan holiday dedicated to the demon Janus Bifrons. This is a two-faced God that people sacrifice and did rituals for new beginnings. We know that the Most High of the Bible told us that the spring marks the new year. And not only is Janus Bifrons a false god, this is also a demon. We know in the book of Solomon that he pointed out Bifrons was a demonic entity. And the most important thing about this pagan holiday and this demon worship is that God says my people perish for lack of knowledge. So when we praise a new year in coming that the God of the Bible did not even propose, that the God of the Bible did not even ordain, what are we truly saying when we say, Lord, I want this for New Year's, Lord, I'm doing this, and we pray for good fortune on the new year? What Lord are you praying to? Because we know that God has ordained everything under the heavens, but we know in Daniel 7:25 that Satan will speak against the Most High. He will change times, laws, and seasons. And what's sad about this is a satanic website. So this is what the Church of Satan is doing. They are celebrating the new year. Of course, they are celebrating a perverted new year purposely because they don't follow the God of the Bible. But you as a believer, you as the elect, you claim you follow the God of the Bible. So why are you doing the same thing that the Church of Satan is doing today? And so a lot of believers are saying, what's the big deal? It's just a holiday, not understanding that God gave us holy days and Satan perverted it and gave us holidays. 10:20 1 Corinthians tells you that the pagan sacrifice to demons, not to the Most High God. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot sit at the table of the Most High and also sit at the table with demons. We know that God hates pagan worship. And wait. I could not end this video without talking about the fact that so many people on this perverted holiday eat pork, black-eyed peas, and collard greens, not realizing why they do it. This is also a sacrifice. This is also a worship to this demonic entity, Janus Bifrons and his wife. Why would God want you to serve a demon? Why would God want you to serve something that is not the one and only living truth? God is jealous because God cares for you.
Hey friends, let's talk about the missing 13th month. Have you ever wondered why our calendar system makes no freaking sense at all? You have September, sept meaning 7, but it's the 9th month. You have October, octagon, 8, but it's the 10th month. And you have November meaning 9, it's the 11th month. And you have December, decagon, decade meaning 10, but it's the 12th month. That doesn't make any sense. That makes me think that there's a missing month in here. So let's dig even deeper. If you take 365 and divide it by 28, you get 13. We could have 13 months with 28 days. You could begin a month on a Monday and end on a Sunday. It makes perfect sense. It's harmonious and balanced. But what happened to the 13th month? Where did it go? And where would New Year's be in this situation? Well, let's analyze it a little bit more. Let's think about the spring equinox. That's next week, the end of March. And let's look at April 1st as possibly being the New Year's Day. Okay, is there any historical context suggesting that April 1st is New Year's Day? Oh my God, yes there is. Actually, a crap ton. So way back in the day, when we had the Julian calendar system, they used to celebrate April 1st as New Year's Day. And then the Pope came in and decided to create the Gregorian system. And to implement it and to force people onto this new system that made no freaking sense at all, whenever people would celebrate April 1st as New Year's Day, they would call them fools. You're a fool for believing that, conspiracy theorist. So what happened next? April Fool's Day. Yes, April 1st is now considered April Fool's Day. That comes from way back in the day when they would literally shame people into believing the old system that made sense into tricking them and forcing them and shaming them into using this new system that makes no sense at all. Okay, so why? Why did they omit the 13th month? Why did they mess up and scramble our entire system? Why do we still call the months names that specifically mean a number, but then assign it to a different number? It doesn't make any sense. Some people think it's because they're just trying to screw with us, get us out of, harmony and balance with nature, make us all, wacky and everything, right? And there's probably some truth to that. But I think it's even weirder. I think that, especially in the Western world, we have a fear of the number 13. So if back in the Atlantean days, like some people propose, that we used a 13-month system with 28 days and it was very balanced and harmonious, well, now we are scared of the number 13 for various reasons. I won't get into them. But It's even like, this is crazy, but this is true. So many buildings now skip the 13th floor. I mean, there's millions of buildings around the world that you go in the elevator and it goes from 12 to 14. The 13th floor exists, but they're scared of it. Civil engineers and scientists created these buildings and skipped the 13th floor out of fear and superstition. That's wild. So why would they not omit the 13th month? I think that's what happened. I think that April 1st is New Year's Day, March 30th is New Year's Eve. That's coming up in a couple weeks. So get your New Year's resolutions ready, my friends, because this is the beginning of the new year. It's coming up in a couple weeks. April 1st. You're not a fool if you believe that. Let me know what you think. Have a beautiful day.
I am celebrating New Year's on April 1st.
How do you think people would take that if they found out that New Year's Day isn't supposed to be in January? Is it possible we've been duped into following a calendar built for control?
Oh, it's not just possible, it's likely. January
Not
1st,
likely,
New Year's Day,
it
is
is.
rooted in Roman paganism. The Romans dedicated it to Janus, their god of doors and beginnings. You know, the one with two faces looking to the past and the future? Convenient symbolism, right? Julius Caesar, the man behind the Julian calendar, reforms it in 46 BC, and the Senate later deifies him on January 1st. Suddenly, it's the new year. Coincidence? Now let's talk about logic. Starting a new year in the dead of winter when everything's frozen and lifeless? Meanwhile, ancient cultures mark the new year in March at the spring equinox, when life actually begins. Crops grow, animals stir, the earth wakes up. That's renewal. But nah, let's start it in January because control. Even the months are off. September's the 9th month, October the 10th. What are they teaching us? Math for the clueless? And don't even get me started on the lunar calendar. Natural, rhythmic, harmonious. But no, we stick with this system designed by elites who wanted you to follow their clock, their cycle. So next time you're counting down at midnight on January 1st, just know they're laughing at you. April Fools in January. How fitting.
This is just a theory, not a fact.
Well, it's not a theory. It is a fact. I'm so sick and tired of hearing conspiracy theories. But if you didn't know, now you know. It's okay. Don't feel bad because I have been duped my whole life too. I've been tricked my whole life too. But it's time to wake up. It's time to take back our land. And it's time to unite and stand as one. They have effed us raw with no lube long enough. From behind, by the way. In the booty hole. And what I just said isn't true. I'm just kidding. Thank you for tuning in to Lady Boss Energy, where we uplift, motivate, and inspire each other to get shit together. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you know somebody who you think might enjoy this or you think needs to see this, share it with them. I hope you have an amazing 24 and the best of them yet. And I pray the divine radiance, love, and kindness, and compassion, and abundance, and peace, and joy, and all the things over your life today, tomorrow, and forever. To see you on the next one. I love you.